NBC News, keep your chin up. NBC News, Senate probing new allegation of misconduct against Kavanaugh. Isn't this amazing? Literally on the eve before the hearing. Supreme Court nominee has been asked privately about an accusation of physical assault, sources tell NBC News, so you know it's leaked by the Democrats. Senate Judiciary Committee is inquiring about at least one additional allegation of misconduct against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, according to a letter obtained by NBC News and multiple people familiar with the process. So first of all, the process in the Senate has completely unraveled. It's completely unraveled. Republican Senate investigators asked Kavanaugh about the new complaint, NBC News has learned, during a phone call on Tuesday between Kavanaugh and committee staff. Sources told NBC News that Kavanaugh denied the allegation in the letter during the call, and a spokesman for the committee declined to comment. The committee on Wednesday, today, released a transcript of Tuesday's call where they asked Kavanaugh about the anonymous letter. It's an anonymous letter. We're dealing with an anonymous letter about an anonymous person and an anonymous friend. It's ridiculous. Total Twilight Zone. And no, I've never done anything like that, Kavanaugh said, according to the transcript. A Republican aide on the committee said the conversation took place shortly after noon. While Republican staff posed questions to Kavanaugh, their Democratic counterparts were also on the call, but did not ask any questions. Why didn't they ask any questions? So they can complain later that the proper questions weren't asked, of course. According to an anonymous complaint sent to Republican Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado, Kavanaugh physically assaulted a woman he socialized with in Washington, D.C. area in 1998, well, that's 20 years ago, while he was inebriated. The sender of the complaint described an evening involving her own daughter, Kavanaugh, and several friends in 1998. When they left the bar under the influence of alcohol, they were all shocked when Brett Kavanaugh shoved her friend up against the wall very aggressively and sexually. There were at least 4 witnesses, including my daughter. The writer of the letter provided no names, but said the alleged victim was still traumatized and had decided to remain anonymous herself. A Democratic source said the minority wasn't satisfied by the Republicans' questions. There you go. I hadn't even read the whole thing. About the incident during the call, calling them cursory, and believed it should be investigated more deeply. So why didn't the Democrats ask more questions? So what's happening now is you're getting lots of letters pouring in, lots of calls pouring in. So, and of course, you have to delay everything to trace every single one of them. Senate Democrats are focusing on the allegations, serious and credible allegations that include people who've come forward. A senior Democratic aide told NBC News, without the FBI's willingness to get involved, we can't investigate this claim further. Folks, you get an anonymous letter from an anonymous person. What the hell are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Honest to God, why is this even news? Since it can't possibly be tracked down. It can't possibly be tracked down. How is this news? You don't even know who wrote the letter. Well, look, he has to prove himself innocent. It just gets, honestly, Rich, it gets more and more shocking. But we have a new standard now. Every accusation is to be believed. So the letters come in, the accusations come in, and so forth and so on. So that's a 4th allegation? How is it an allegation? We have no idea who it is, what it is, any of it. But they're witnesses. Okay, who are the witnesses? Well, we don't know. This is what's being encouraged in our country right now. Now, the funny thing about all this is I was never that hot to trot on Kavanaugh, was I, Mr. Producer? He was not even in my top 3. Now, I watch this. Where are all the Bushies? Where are all the Bushies? Where are all the people who were trashing me for daring to ask a few questions about the guy? Not questions like this, but questions about his judicial philosophy. Where are they? They're nowhere. So this is an NBC breaking news story, which has absolutely no substance whatsoever. I don't even know what to do with a story like this. Another allegation. So it's anonymous. The letter's anonymous. Am I right, Mr. Producer? It's an anonymous letter. Anonymous, what? Accuser. And it's called the fourth allegation. So, I don't know what to tell you, folks. But I will tell the Democrats something. These new standards you've created must be applied to you. They must be applied to you. You're guilty until proven innocent. No presumption of innocence. No due process. Tell me, does the Senate Ethics Committee act this way? Is that how they function? No due process, no right to be heard, no evidence, no witnesses? I'm quite serious. Because then we all might as well file complaints against senators all over the place with the Senate Ethics Committee and tell them we insist that you apply the same standards that the Democrats are applying to a nominee to the United States Supreme Court. That they have to prove the negative. That there is no real due process. And apparently you can make an anonymous allegation. An anonymous allegation. Without your name, without your address, anything. Just do it. And I assume that they're going to investigate these senators. Maybe they'll even call in the FBI. Listen, we have an anonymous complaint, an anonymous letter, an anonymous accuser, with anonymous witnesses. Call in the FBI. Because NBC News thinks this is a big deal. Would this be the same NBC News that somehow missed Matt Lauer, Mr. Producer? Where Andy Lack suddenly went blind? Oh, who knew? Who knew? Is that the NBC News we're talking about? What next? CBS News? Where's Les Moonbeam, or whatever his name is? Moonves. And the former head of 60 Minutes. Where are they? Remember the clock? Remember the close-up of a guy's left nostril hairs? Remember how they used to do that stuff? I'll be right back.